Welcome to the Social Stack, your go-to channel for marketing needs based in technology for your real estate business. I'm Amy Stack, and today we're going to be talking about a seller prospecting flyer, and specifically one that talks about how the price point in a neighborhood has gone up over the past years so that you can help your clients or potential clients find hidden equity in their homes. Sound good? I see everybody's very excited. Good. I got some nods and smiles. Thank you. I like it when you participate. So what I'm going to do is show you kind of what inspired this for me. And it's got some writing on it. It's a little messy, but that's okay because this is not going to be our final product. Let me go ahead and share my screen. So for those of you that are familiar with the Pivot Shift group on Facebook, this was one of the things in the flyer section there. If you guys are not familiar with that, go ahead and check out that group on Facebook. Any agent anywhere is welcome to join. It's not a KW group, it's just Pivot Shift. And if you go to pivotshiftcall.com, you can join our daily Zoom call for that too. It's totally free, open to any real estate agent. But we talk a lot about, especially right now, how to find listings with the inventory the way it is. So somebody had shared this as an idea. And you can see it's black and white, and there's lots of notes on it, print on yellow paper. I think that's a great idea. And I liked the idea of where this was going, except I saw this and I looked at it and I was like, man, this person's making a flyer for every single person they're talking to. That seems like a lot of work. You have to go pull all that data, make a separate flyer. So I thought to myself, how can we take this great idea and make it easy for you guys to use on a mass level? And by mass, I guess it depends on a neighborhood, how big your neighborhood is. But at least there's going to be a few hundred homes in one neighborhood. So what I did is I put together this flyer inside Command, where we're going to talk about, on average, homes in your neighborhood have increased by X dollars in the last 5 years, 10 years. You can put whatever you want in there, and I'll show you how to get that data. But now you can print one flyer and go door knocking an entire area instead of having to customize that. Do you guys see the difference here where this flyer said your home, specifically your home, is X amount of dollars more than you paid for it? So you'd have to go find out how much they paid for it, figure out how much it's gone up, and make one of these for every single person, versus we can look at a neighborhood stat, pull up exactly what the average was in that neighborhood 5-10 years ago, what the average is now. And so there's a likelihood that homes in that area have increased on average by this amount of dollar. And then you can use this one flyer for the whole neighborhood. Does that make sense to everybody? See some head nods? Okay, great. So also, we're talking about a flyer today. I do want to make sure that you guys understand you can apply this principle to any type of marketing. You can make a graphic out of this. You can make a postcard. You could put this in an email if you have the email of everybody in your farm and email it to them. You could do a multi-step campaign, put it in a smart plan and have different touches with this information in it. I'm just showing it in a flyer because that's the one way that I thought was quick and easy to show it all to you guys at one time. The flyer can go out with door knocking. You could mail it out. You could have it at a local event that you're hosting in the neighborhood, right? So there's lots of different uses for it. Okay, so are you guys ready to see how I did it? All right, let's go ahead and share my screen again. This was my final product. And I'm using Command Designs to do this. You guys can make a flyer anywhere that you're comfortable. The reason that specifically that I chose to use Command for this one is because of this neighborhood stat map right here. So I'll get to that in just a moment, but that's why I decided to do it in Command versus another platform, because this map will pull right in. And I thought that was a cool little touch for a specific neighborhood detail. So I'm just going to go open Command brand new, agent.kw.com, open a new tab here. We're just going to go into designs. It's that little paintbrush on the left-hand side. And we're going to choose to make a new design. So that's up in the top right. We'll hit create new. And then we want print because it's a flyer. And this template that I used is in the listing section. So on the left-hand side, you'll have all the different templates. I'm going to click listings, and then I chose the neighborhood snap one. I'm just going to look at flyers and letters, and that'll narrow it down a little bit more. And this one on the right is the template that I use. I did update it. You can see that this guy here, the layout looks a little different than this one. So I'll show you what I did to update that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit use. And the first thing I did was got rid of all of these text boxes here. And I made mine say this text here. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that. If you guys haven't used designs much, I do want to point out at the top, there's this little typewriter feature. When you are editing text, that's going to be your best friend. It will open up this little window here. I'm just going to, oops, I didn't copy my stuff over right. Sorry. Let's go ahead and come back here. We'll open that typewriter. We'll copy that. So when you're in here, use your keyboard shortcuts. So that was paste. I'm going to hit undo. So here's copy. I'm just using my keyboard. I went into the other one and hit paste. Okay, so now that's obviously a lot smaller than the other page we were on. You can just drag by the corners to resize your box. You also have this guy up here to resize your fonts. And I'm going to go ahead and center it as well. Okay. And maybe I want to make it bold. So you can play around however you want that to look. Then let's see, what else did we do? Oh, I also had, let's discuss your next move. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. And we'll just paste. Ooh. There we go, copy and paste. I don't want that one bold. Go grab this text. You could just type right in to the flyer as well. I just already have it typed up, so I'm just going to copy and paste it. Oops. Helps if I hit the right buttons. There we go, copy. We'll open up the typewriter again for that, and we'll paste right in there and hit save. Okay, so let's discuss your next move. Call today while the market's still hot. And if you don't like that language, you could change it up. You could say something like I said, do you know how much money is hidden in your home? Call today. I can help you figure out that exact number, right? You can change it to whatever makes sense for you and is in your tone of voice. Okay. So the next thing I did is I actually deleted this little map down here and the image holder behind it. We'll hit save changes. So then on the original, you see my name. Well, it's not me, it's just the placeholder, but agent name and info and the logos are spread across on the bottom. So all I did was grab these and move it over. Okay, so I just moved that down. And then for you guys, of course, you can put your own headshots in there. Like I can swap out my logo if I wanted to put that in there. You can click on the text, again, go into your typewriter and just update that with your information. I think you guys understand how to put your contact info in there, so I'm going to leave that for now. Then you'll notice on mine, I have this fun little popcorn picture in the background. So what you can do is, I just went to Google and Googled popcorn images, and I have one on my computer right now. So I'm going to hit images on the left-hand side here, and we're going to hit add. And there's an upload button. So I've already downloaded an image to my computer. I'm going to hit upload, and I'm going to drag and drop my image that I have sitting on my desktop right now, right in there. And over on the left-hand side, you'll see my image has uploaded into the flyer or into the options to use. So if I click on that, that'll hop right into the flyer on the right-hand side. I'm just resizing it. And you'll notice, make it a little bit bigger. You will notice if I look at my finished one that I already showed you, the top is not overlaying on my black box or my map, and it's black and white. You guys do not have to change the color if you don't want to. I chose to do that because if I want to print this on yellow paper and I just want to use black and white ink, I don't need all the color in the image. So I'm trying to keep my costs down by printing in black and white. So once you've selected that image, up in the top right, this is a little bit of an advanced feature. If you're not familiar with designs, you can go ahead and hit arrange. So top right, hit arrange. And then this little icon says send to bottom. So I'm going to do that. And now it's underneath all of my text and pictures that were already on the page. The next thing I want to do is click that image again and hit filters. It kind of looks like a little magic wand. So if I hit filters and let it load for a second, you can see there's different filters, just like you would see on Instagram or Snapchat or something. And there's some grayscale ones in there. So I'm going to hit grayscale. I'm going to hit apply. Now it's in black and white. Now you can see it still looks lighter. It's kind of hard to read my text on this one right now, right? But it's much easier to read it on this one. So there's one other advanced feature I can show you. When you click this little circle at the top, it's like half white and half black. It says opacity. You can just drag that dial down. So now it's totally gone. But if I put it kind of right in the middle, now my picture is still there, but it's kind of more like a watermark, right? And I can see all my text on top of it. So that's how I got that picture to look like that. And I can, drag and drop this wherever I want. And this I just simply typed in, I don't even remember what I wrote, just popping by to give you some great news. So if you guys are door knocking, this is a great flyer to bring like a little bag of microwave popcorn with, right? And that's just, you can tie this to the bag and leave it at the house for them. So let's see, if I open up my typewriter, I can copy and paste that. Just hit copy, and we'll come right into this one, typewriter again, paste in there. And then I can just position it where I want in that black box. So the last thing I have on here that doesn't match quite yet is our map. Let me hit save changes here. So how do we get that map in there? This is the part where so far everything we've done you can do on any design platform you want. What I want to show you how to do is to pull in that neighborhood snap data. So on the left-hand side, we have a bunch of tools here. One of them is a little house near the bottom that says KWLS. So we're going to click on that. And it automatically takes us to listings. You see this white column here. We're actually going to click on snapshots. So Mike, I'm going to ask you, what's a neighborhood that you might want to do some work in? Look for some listings in.
River Grove.
River Grove. Okay, so let's look by, do you know what's the zip code in River Grove?
60171.
Okay, so we're going to look at that zip code. And that's going to show us all the neighborhoods in next door that are associated with this zip code. Oh, so it just pulled up the one zip. So if I switch to neighborhood name and I do River Grove, Illinois, it's one word, right?
No, it's two.
It's two words. Okay, so let's put the space in there. All right, are any of these neighborhoods a specific one in River Grove that you would like to prospect?
River Grove East.
This guy right here. So if I hit my little arrow next to the neighborhood I'm interested in, it'll take a second, but it'll load different maps for us. So this one has some stats in it already. That one's just the map. And then here's another one with more stats. So for the design I'm showing you guys, I used just the map. So I'm going to click on the image that's already in the design. I'm actually going to resize it a little bit because I want my map to pop right into the same place. So I have my picture selected. You can see that with that blue outline. If I come over to my map and I hit this circular arrow, it says replace image. So I can tap on that and it's going to put the map right in that place. So now I can double click on it and I can move it around if I want to. I can also resize the image. If it doesn't quite fit in there, you can resize it like this. You can play around with that and see whatever's best for you. Okay, and then just hit done. And then I did the same thing with this one. I didn't want it to be in color, so I hit my filter button. I waited for my options to pop up. And I found that grayscale one and hit apply. So now my flyer is entirely black and white except for my logo down there, which if you print in black and white, that'll just print in black anyways. Or if you upload your black and white logo, that's not an issue. So that's how I made the flyer that we've seen so far. Now, here is the part where this is all great, but you need to have the data to put in here. That's the most important part, right? So what I'm going to do is stop my screen share, and Mike is going to share his screen, and I'm going to walk you through how to pull that up on the MLS. So I'm going to go ahead and stop screen share. And Mike, when you're ready, if you want to pull up your MLS and share your screen for everybody, you guys can all follow along. All right, perfect. So he's in command. There's the MLS. And if you just go to your home screen in MLS, if you guys haven't moved around your widgets, at the bottom right, there are all the MLS tools. And one of them will be, there it is. It will be InfoSparks. It looks like a little red graph. Yep, bar graph. Perfect. So we are in InfoSparks. All right, so there's a ton of stuff you can pull out of here. You can get lots of data and you can customize a whole bunch of settings. Today, we're looking specifically for the average price in a neighborhood at a certain time frame. So we're gonna look for a couple of things first. In the very top left, Mike, do you see where it says entire MLS area?
Mhm.
Go ahead and hit that drop down. And then see on the right, those options came up. It says MLS area, county, zip code. So you can do city or zip code, and you can put in River Grove. So the MLS will only show you an entire zip code. Only Nextdoor is going to give you that micro neighborhood, okay? But so he chose River Grove. So now we've honed in on our town. So we picked that we want information on River Grove specifically. Then if you go all the way to the bottom, there's more red boxes. And you can see right now, average sales price is selected or median sales price. So that's actually the one we want to be on. That's the top of the left. Yeah, right there. So if you want to switch between average and median, you can click between those two buttons. So we're on median. Now we're on average.
Does it shows days on market?
There is a days on market one in here too, if that's something you guys, yep.
Oh, market time, okay.
So if you guys are interested in that, feel free to play around with all these stats. This is an amazing tool. But specifically for this flyer, we're gonna stay at that sales price one. And then over on the right-hand side, currently you see it says River Grove and there's kind of an arrow pointing left. Just above that, it says 3 years. So if you click that drop down, you can look at 5 years or 10 years. So now if you hover over, so you can decide if you want it to be a 5-year flyer or a 10-year flyer. But if you hover over the area on that bar graph, or I mean that line graph there, it will tell you. So if you might go back to either a 5 or a 10-year view. Perfect. So 5 years ago was at the bottom there. You can see as he hovers over it, the average cost was $167,342, right? And then if he comes and hovers over today, he can see the average cost is just under $250, right? So you guys can do a little bit of math and find out what that gap is there, and that's where you get the data to put on the flyer. So in this case, I know you can't see my screen, but let's do that math and I'll just update the flyer really quick. So on average, homes in your neighborhood have increased by, what was it, 250?
Minus 167.
250 minus 167-ish, $83,000. That might be something a homeowner might want to know about, don't you think?
And that seems about compared to what like my house is too. I mean, that's like pretty much dead on.
Oh yeah, I mean, all this data comes from the MLS. So that is what I wanted. Thank you, Mike, very much for your assistance in pulling up InfoSparks, but that's what I wanted to show you guys. So the first thing you need to do in InfoSparks, you got to do your neighborhood. You got to make sure that you're selected on the sales price, and then you got to select your years. So you can choose if you want to do a 5-year view or a 10-year view. Feel free to play around with that other information for other types of flyers or conversations with your clients. But let me go ahead and share my screen again.
Is there a way to pull the information directly from InfoSparks into designs, or you just copy and paste that?
I just did the math and typed in 83,000 right there. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think there's a way to link in InfoSparks. That's a good idea, though. I also don't know if every MLS across the country has InfoSparks. So if you guys are from another area and you don't have that button, check with somebody in your market center to see if you have something similar, because different MLSs I know offer different features. But there we go. So now we have River Grove. And like I said, if we wanted this whole neighborhood instead of just East River Grove, I can't talk. Remind me what that zip code was again, Mike?
60171.
Oops. So that'll take a second to load in. Didn't mean to click that. Sorry, I'm getting a little click happy over here. And then we could just have it say River Grove instead of River Grove East. 60171. I don't know why it's not loading. That's okay. All right, well, that's loading. Oh, I saw something came in the chat. I was going to ask if anybody had questions. Let's see. Oh, Stephanie, so you said just a reminder on where to find InfoSparks. When you log into the MLS, at the bottom right, there's a tools section, and there's a little bar graph, kind of a red bar graph, and it'll say InfoSparks next to it. And that is how you get into that section of the MLS. And Angie made a very good point. Plus the equity they've built up in their home over the time they've owned it. So what she's saying is like, yes, these houses on average in the last 5 years have increased by $83,000. That's if they did nothing to the home, right? So if we've made any updates, that's going to be even higher. So that is a great point. Thank you for bringing that up, Angie. And then Patty said, would you show an InfoSparks graph in your flyer as well? You absolutely could, Patty. If you wanted to do that, you could take a little screenshot of that InfoSparks graph, and you could come to the images section here. And again, just hit upload, and you could upload that graph onto here. So maybe you wanted to move your text up like this. And then okay, this isn't the graph we were talking about, but let's pretend this is the little chart inside InfoSparks. You could just click it, kind of do something like that. So you could absolutely put that little chart in there. I'm going to delete that one. Another question from Rachel. You can share graphics with the stats from InfoSparks with a link that is active or stagnant. So you could probably copy that graphic for a flyer. There you go. Thanks, Rachel. Answering questions before I even got to them. So that's perfect. Yeah, that would be if you didn't want to do this whole flyer, you could absolutely use that feature as well. And then Christina, do we use average price or median price? That is totally up to you. Just make sure whatever you use, you have it correctly labeled, I guess. Identify it the same way on the flyer. So if you click median in InfoSparks, make sure it says median in the flyer. If you clicked average in InfoSparks, make sure it says average. So you can do whichever one you like. And then Patty brought up a good point. Median price removes the outliers. So usually something really high and really low, which is true. So it's just up to you on which one you guys want to feature. Any other questions on any of that?
No, but you could definitely save this for me so I can go grab it later.
Yep. So actually, because all of you guys came today, there's one other thing. It might take me a little longer than 5 minutes. So if you are okay with hanging around for a little bit longer, because all of you came today, I wanted to show you how you can actually take somebody else's PDF, upload it to Command, and edit it yourself. So you don't have to do the whole thing from scratch. How does that sound? All right. So I'm going to take this guy just as it is, hit download, and I'm going to hit PDF for printing. Well, I'm just going to leave it. That was already the option. So I'm going to hit download here. And then Patty said, can you go back into InfoSparks and show that info in the bar graph format rather than the line graph? Ooh, yeah, we could do that. Let me finish this, and then we can go back into InfoSparks if Mike's not pressed for time.
No, I got to.
All right. So I've downloaded it to a PDF. I'm just going to hit done. And you'll notice I'm back on my main design screen. What I'm going to do right now is drop that PDF into the chat. So everybody that's on, you can download that from the chat. So you now I'll have my PDF. And if you go into designs and get to the screen that I'm on right now, there's a button in the top right that says import design. So I can go ahead and hit import, and this will take a couple minutes. Right in the middle at the top, there's a section that says import PDF. So I can just drag that PDF right in there. And you'll see at the bottom right that it's uploading. So we're 84%, 92, and now it's been uploaded. That's this first graphic on the left that says on the move, but it's not showing any image yet. You will notice that there's a little eye in the top right-hand corner. If you select that, it will tell you what's going on. So it's telling me that there's a measurement missing. So if I click on it, it's going to, what it's going to do is ask me, is this a a graphic, so it's pixels, or is it a flyer, inches, right? So I can click on those three little dots and hit fix. So it's not a graphic. This is a flyer. It's already formatted right here for 8.5 by 11. So just choose inches and hit continue. And because I made this in Command, I already know that all these fonts are compatible in Command. So sometimes if you pull something off of the internet that wasn't already made in the platform, it's going to ask you, it's going to say this font wasn't found. What font do you want to use instead of it? So you just choose the fonts you want to swap out. But it's just converting that for us right now. And this is the part that it can take a couple minutes to do all that converting. But basically, this is a way to edit a PDF without having to have Adobe Pro.
That is cool.
Yeah. So then what'll happen, you can see I've got a couple in here. I'm just going to open this one that's already loaded in. Can you tell I was ready for that? And oh, this is the one we just made. Just kidding. Let me go back. All right, let's try this one again. There we go. So now that it's loaded in, you will notice sometimes the boxes, oh, I should have did this in a different account. I don't know if this is the one I just made or the one that just loaded in. I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes see how this is all one now? Just because of the nature of a PDF, the system can't always tell if it's all one piece. Like it knew that was an image, right? Let's just hit undo. Sometimes what will happen is this, see how these texts, it's picking them up each as an individual text box. So that might happen, or sometimes like one sentence is a text box and another sentence is a text box. But at least you have all the data in there and you've got the whole layout. So you could just delete the text that's in there and add a new text box and type in. It's totally fine. But now you guys have access to that with the layout. And again, all that image there, you can just click on where it says River Grove East, go to the KWLS button, hit snapshots and put your neighborhood in there. Whoops, didn't hit zip code. And once they load in, you can just swap that map out, which is why I like to leave that as the image when we're sharing. So here we go. And now there's a different zip code right in there for you. So now you guys all have the flyer. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. And then Mike, if you don't mind, if you want to pull up InfoSparks again, we'll go back to Patty's question. And I got to remind myself, what was it? Where's the chat? Patty said,
I think they turn this into a bar graph, right?
Oh, yeah, I think there's, do you see next to the 5-year option, it says line? I think you can, on the other side. Yep. So if you just hit that drop down and hit bar, that turns into a bar graph.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It looks like you can only go back 3 years though with the bar graph.
Oh yeah, click the 3-year option then. Let's see, does that give you longer? Yeah, no, you're right, Angie, that looks like it's just the 3 years. So for this, this flyer, I mean, I guess you could do 3 years if you wanted, but you're gonna get a bigger gap for that 5 to 10. So you can just pick and choose how you want to apply that to your flyer. Are there any other questions we can go over for you guys today? You guys are a quiet bunch. Kari, where did you say we downloaded this PDF from? Oh, it's in the chat. It's right above where you just typed. You can just download that PDF to your computer. Yeah, so if you guys want that PDF, make sure you grab it now. Because it'll be gone by the time we close the Zoom out. There, I just dropped it in the chat again. Just says on the move. All right. Oh, thanks, Patty. Yeah, so who has questions about the conversation that you're going to have with this flyer? You guys all understand how to use that information and why it's important?
I don't know why, but your PDF isn't coming up in our chat on our side for anybody.
Oh, no.
No, I got it on the chat.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Me, Carrie, and Patty, or not Patty, but Carrie. I didn't get it either. I don't know why it's not.
I have it. I downloaded it, so it's up there.
The second one works.
Okay. I don't know why it wouldn't have worked the first time. It's the same, the same PDF. All right. And Patty said she got it. Okay. Carrie, is yours working now? I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. All right. Seeing lots of I got it. Okay. So keep trying that out. And then let's talk about a little bit about the flyer itself. You guys understand the conversation you're going to have with it.
Yeah, I have a question. So if I'm gonna give the flyer to someone and that, I mean, obviously the first thing they're gonna say, okay, but we need to buy if we're gonna sell, and the market is crazy. So what secret should we use for this?
Great question. So that's actually something I'm working on. A little passion project of mine is a smart plan to help with overcoming those seller objections. They're like, yeah, this is great. I want to get this money out of my house, but I don't know where I'm going to go if I sell, right? So you have to be ready to have those conversations ahead of time. There are a lot of options out there right now. There's special lending that will do something like, it's called a recast or a bridge loan, where they can, that's if they're like, well, I need the money from the sale of this house to go into the next house. Look into recast and bridge loans. If it's really just I don't know where I'm going to go, you can talk about short-term housing, right? Extended stay hotels, Airbnbs, short-term rentals that are, 1 to 3 months long. You can talk about living with friends and family for a little bit. There's lots of options out there. So just make sure you're ready. Go talk to other agents, see what they're doing. You also have the option, a lot of people are doing rent backs right now. So the buyer purchases the home and the seller gets to stay in it for X amount of weeks or months, depending on what that contract says, and they don't have to move out at closing. So that buys them a little extra time before they move into that next home, okay? So definitely, if you guys are in a coaching program, go talk to your coaches about that. If you're not in a coaching program, go find some other agents that are getting their buyers under contract and seeing what they're offering their sellers, or go talk to sellers, the agents that are selling, and see what they're doing, what those conversations are with their listing clients as well. That's a great question. All right. Oh, yep, the knock program. Mike, that's 100% right. Knock is another great program out there for sellers right now. And I see a couple of people are still saying they can't get that PDF. If you guys just want to email me, I'll put my email in the chat right now. Did I spell it right? I missed a C. Here we go. I just put my email in the chat. Oh, hang on. I'm just sending it to Mike. There we go.
Oh,
Go ahead.
yeah, I was on direct message too.
Just shoot me an email and I can send you that PDF. It's just on my desktop right now. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.